Questions in paper 2 chemistry repeat the same old concepts every time. They just change the format and the numbers. Today I would like to show you 4 questions that are very frequently asked in this exam paper. The first question is about chromatography. They're asking me here to identify the yellow spot based on its RF value. You have 2 ways to answer this question. The first way is to use your ruler and measure the distances, which would take you a long time. But if you realize that the distance from the solvent front to the baseline is worth 1, then half that distance is going to be 0.5. The yellow spot is slightly far from that halfway line, so it can't be option A. It would rather be option B. Here's another frequently asked question. It's taken from the mole concept. The question is asking you which 2 quantities would react without any left over. In other words, you need to find which 2 quantities they have identical number of moles. I would find the number of moles of each quantity by dividing the mass over the molecular mass. You have to realize that oxygen reacts in diatomic form. So we're talking here about O2 rather than oxygen atoms. To find the number of moles, I'll divide 12 by 12 for carbon and 12 by 32 for oxygen. And obviously these are not equal number of moles. I'll do the same thing for option B and this still not equal number of moles. Option C is the right answer because both quantities are equal to 0.5 moles. This question should take you less than 30 seconds to answer once you identify the keyword. The question is asking you to identify combustion reactions of hydrocarbons. You have to realize that ethanol got an oxygen and is not a hydrocarbon. For that reason, the only correct option is answer D. This question is usually asked in the first page of the exam paper, where you've been given the melting and the boiling point of a substance, and then you'll be identified its state of matter. The first thing I'll do is that I'm going to sketch its melting point 71 and its boiling point 375. Any substance is a solid below its melting point. It is a liquid between its melting point and its boiling point, and it's a gas after its boiling point. For that reason, the only correct option here is D. That's because it's a liquid at 80 degrees Celsius and it's a gas at 400, which is higher than the boiling point. If you've solved several chemistry past papers, you realize that the examiners keep on repeating the same concept over and over again. They just change the format and the numbers of these questions. Me, I've solved more than 100 of those past papers, and I want to share with you the key facts. This should help you to find the answer much faster and improve your grade. Let's start with the first topic. Gases with lower molecular mass diffuse faster. Another factor that influences diffusion rate is temperature. The higher the temperature, the faster the rate of diffusion is. In a heating or cooling curve, the change of state such as melting or boiling occurs when the temperature remains constant. That's when the curve becomes horizontal. Let's talk about chromatography, which is a very common question. The RF value is always less than 1, and the higher this value, the further the spot will appear on the chromatography paper. If 2 pigments have the same RF value, they will appear on the chromatography paper as if they are 1 spot. A pure substance will always appear as a single spot. In addition, the melting and boiling point of pure substances are always 1 fixed value. On the other hand, impure substances such as mixtures melt and boil over a range of temperatures. Let's talk about lab tools. When you are to measure the volume of a liquid, you have one of 3 options. A pipette is used when you are to measure 25 cm cubed accurately. If accuracy is not an issue, then always use a measuring cylinder. Burettes are accurate and they measure variable volume of liquids. Let's now move to atomic structure. A cation or positive ion will always have the same electron configuration as the noble gas that comes before it, while an anion has the same configuration as the noble gas that comes right after it. Isotopes have the same chemical properties because they have the same number of valence electrons. Moving now to the mole concept. When you've been asked to determine which quantities have equal number of particles, you need to convert these values into moles. Particles with the same number of moles have the same number of particles. Gases with equal number of moles have equal volumes. That's because 1 mole of any gas occupies 24 dm cubed at room temperature impression. One important fact about electrolysis that will help you to solve many questions is the fact that ions are the ones that float in the solution and electrons run in the wires from the anode to the cathode. If a gas appears at the cathode, then this gas is hydrogen. Hydrogen gas appears at the cathode when highly reactive metals from group 1 or group 2 are electrolyzed. Halogens and oxygens are the gases that appear at the anode. halogens only appear at the anode when using concentrated solutions. Oxygen appears at the anode if a dilute solution was electrolyzed or when having nitrates and sulfate in the electrolyte. If you've been asked about electroplating, then the object to be plated should be placed at the cathode, and the electrolyte should contain the same ion that you're trying to plate with. When using copper electrodes, the size of the cathode increases while the anode decreases in size. The color of the electrolyte remains blue. That's because the anode is providing the copper ions. For all the students who are taking the paper 2 chemistry exam in few days, listen to those 10 facts. They'll help you to find the answers much faster and improve your overall score. Let's start with energetics. Temperature decreases during endothermic reactions. Reactants have lower energy than the product, and the sign of delta H in endothermic reactions is positive. Opposite applies to exothermic reactions. When asked to find the energy change in a reaction, calculate the energy for bond breaking in the reactants and minus that from the bond formation in the products. There are 4 factors that increase rate of reaction: increase in temperature, adding a catalyst, decrease in particle size, that's when you increase surface area, and increase in concentration. When asked about equilibrium, note that increase in temperature shifts equilibrium towards the endothermic reaction. Increase in pressure favors the side that has fewer moles of gas. Increasing concentration of a reactant shifts equilibrium towards the product. And you can always reverse these factors. Let's now talk about redox. There are 4 ways that you can determine if an oxidation is occurring. First is by gain of oxygen, loss of hydrogen, loss of electrons, and an increase in oxidation number. Opposite applies for reduction. Potassium manganate and chlorine are among the most used oxidizing agents. Reactive metals like potassium, sodium, calcium are good reducing agents. Strong acids like hydrochloric acid ionize or dissociate fully. Organic acids are weak acids. That's why they ionize or dissociate only partially. There are 4 types of oxides. Oxides of metals are basic. Oxides of nonmetals are acidic. Oxides of aluminium, zinc, and lead are amphoteric. Carbon monoxide and nitrogen monoxide are neutral oxides. Finally, when asked to prepare a salt by precipitation, you'll mix 2 aqueous solutions, and then you'll filter the precipitate, rinse it with distilled water, and dry it between filter papers. For all the students who are taking the paper 2 chemistry exam, listen to those 20 frequently asked questions that are likely to appear in your exam. Let's start with metals. Transition metals have high melting point, high density, and colored compounds. Moving down group 1 in the periodic table, the melting point decreases and reactivity increases. Opposite applies to group 7 or halogens, where the melting point increases and reactivity decreases. Also, color intensity increases as you move down. When reactive metals like sodium, potassium, or calcium react with water, they form hydrogen and metal hydroxide. On the other hand, less reactive metals react with steam and produce both metal oxide and hydrogen. Metals above carbon in reactivity series, such as aluminium, are extracted by electrolysis. Metals below carbon are extracted by reducing them with carbon. Aluminium has low density, that's why it's used for airplane bodies. It's also covered with a layer of its oxide, that's why it's used for food containers. During galvanization and sacrificial protection, metals that are more reactive than iron, such as magnesium or zinc, are oxidized, while the iron remains intact. When iron rusts, it consumes 21% of the air. That is the percentage of oxygen. Alloys like steel are harder than metals because they have atoms of different sizes. Moving to the last topic about organic chemistry. When alcohols are oxidized with potassium manganate, they produce carboxylic acids. Production of alcohol by fermentation has 2 great advantages. First, it uses renewable resources, that is glucose. Second, it saves energy because it's run at low temperature. The 2 disadvantages of fermentation is that it's a slow batch process and the alcohol produced this way is impure. Opposite applies to the production of alcohol by hydration. Esters are made by the condensation reaction of alcohols and carboxylic acids. The number of carbons in an ester is the total number of carbons in the alcohol plus the carboxylic acids. There are 2 ways to produce polymers. First, it's addition. That's when an alkene produces only one product, and that is the polymer. The second method of making polymers is by condensation. This time, 2 products are formed, the polymer and the molecule of water. That's it for today, and I wish you all best of luck.